Shadur Sanders battles injury, while ex-teammate Jimmy Horn Jr. sends emotional shout-out amid Brown's QB drama. As the summer heat intensifies across NFL training camps, few places have seen more quarterback drama unfold than Berea, Ohio, home to the Cleveland Browns. Every rep, every pass, and every whisper around the locker room is magnified under the weight of one of the league's most competitive and controversial quarterback battles. In the middle of that storm stands Shadur Sanders, a rookie quarterback carrying a last name that draws headlines and expectations in equal measure. But just as Sanders appeared poised to ramp up his camp performance, adversity struck. A sore shoulder sidelined him from Saturday's practice, an untimely setback for a fifth-round rookie already fighting to prove he belongs. While fans and analysts speculated about his future, one voice from the past emerged to offer heartfelt support. Former teammate and close friend, Jimmy Horn Jr., now playing for the Carolina Panthers, Horn sent a message that went far beyond football, a testament to brotherhood, struggle, and a bond forged during one electric year together at the University of Colorado. In a league where moments define careers and friendships often yield to competition, the story of Shadur Sanders and Jimmy Horn Jr. reminds us of the human connection buried beneath the stat sheets and contract negotiations. The rise and chemistry, from South Florida and Jackson State to Boulder, Colorado. In 2023, the college football world witnessed a major transformation when Deion Sanders, widely known as Coach Prime, made the jump from Jackson State to Colorado. With him came his two sons, Shedeur, the starting quarterback, and Shiloh, a hard-hitting safety. But another pivotal piece joined them in Boulder, Jimmy Horn Jr., a speedy and electric receiver who transferred from South Florida. The trio became a key part of the Buffalo's high-octane offense. While headlines often focused on Coach Prime's bold media presence or Shedeur's calm pocket poise, Horn's contribution was no less vital. The connection between Sanders and Horn blossomed into one of the most reliable and dynamic QBWR tandems in college football. In just one season, Horn reeled in 56 catches for 567 yards and 6 touchdowns. His ability to get separation, read defenses, and turn short throws into big gains made him an invaluable asset to Sanders. But beyond the touchdowns and post-game highlights, something deeper formed. A brotherhood built on shared adversity, common ambition, and unwavering trust. That was crazy. Horn reacts to Sanders' draft fall. That bond remained even after the final whistle blew on their college careers. When the 2025 NFL Draft arrived, Horn sat anxiously watching with his friends and family. Like many others, he expected Shadur Sanders, who had thrown for over 4,100 yards and 37 touchdowns in his final season, to hear his name called early. But round after round went by, and Sanders remained undrafted. The NFL's most talked-about quarterback had suddenly become its biggest draft day mystery. And when the Cleveland Browns finally picked him in the 5th round with the 144th overall pick, the damage had already been done. The emotional toll was visible. I was watching it with my peoples, and we just sitting there watching it like, damn. Horn said last month on Nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson. That's all we were saying. Damn, that was crazy. The emotion in his voice told the story. This wasn't just about draft stock or team fit. This was personal. Horn had seen firsthand the grit, intelligence, and leadership Sanders brought to the field every day. To see his close friend overlooked by NFL teams cut deep. And now, with Sanders fighting through an injury in camp, Horn's voice echoed louder. This is more than football. It's about giving talent a fair shot. A painful pause. Injury hits at the worst time. For rookies trying to claw their way up the depth chart, availability is everything. And for Shadur Sanders, a shoulder flare-up during a critical training camp stretch couldn't have come at a worse moment. Entering camp, Sanders was already in a logjam behind veterans like Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett. With Pickett sidelined early due to a hamstring injury, a window briefly opened for the rookie to gain reps and prove he could handle the pro level. But that window now threatens to close as quickly as it opened. Missing reps during practice isn't just about lost throws, it's about trust. Coaches need to see how a quarterback responds under pressure, how he communicates with receivers, and how he commands the huddle. Every absence shifts those opportunities to someone else. And in the high-stakes world of NFL roster construction, where final cuts are made with brutal precision, even minor injuries can derail entire careers. The clock is ticking. Can Sanders catch up in time? The Browns' first preseason game is just days away, August 8th, against none other than Jimmy Horn Jr. and the Carolina Panthers. It's a narrative dream. Two former college teammates now trying to carve out their NFL legacies on opposite sides of the ball. But for that reunion to happen, Sanders must get healthy, and fast. The clock is ticking, and with only a few weeks left before teams must trim rosters down to 53 players, every missed opportunity becomes critical. At this point, Sanders faces three possible fates. Make the 53-man roster as a backup quarterback, showing enough poise and potential to be worth developing behind veterans. Land on the practice squad, where he'll continue honing his skills away from the spotlight, waiting for his shot. Get waived entirely, if the injury lingers or he fails to distinguish himself from the pack. The Browns, for their part, remain cautiously optimistic. While they've yet to publicly express deep concern, internal evaluations are ongoing, and the sheer volume of quarterbacks in the room means tough decisions are inevitable. Kenny Pickett returns to Browns camp with QB1 intentions as Shadur Sanders takes a step back. In the thick summer heat of Berea, Ohio, the quarterback competition at Cleveland Browns training camp has taken more twists than anyone predicted. What was originally expected to be a steady, three-man race for the Browns' starting quarterback spot has now turned into a week-to-week saga of injuries, rising rookies, and quiet shakeups. On Saturday, that story took another turn. Kenny Pickett, the former Steelers starter and current Browns hopeful, returned to practice following a hamstring injury that sidelined him for multiple days. Meanwhile, rookie quarterback Shadur Sanders, the fifth-round pick with a legendary last name and a fanbase already tracking his every move, remained on the sideline due to arm soreness. What was supposed to be a day for progress turned into one of paused momentum and limited visibility for two of the camp's most watched players. As Joe Flacco and Dillon Gabriel took center stage, questions swirled. What does this mean for Kenny Pickett's chances at QB1? And has Shadur Sanders' momentum quietly stalled before it even took off? Kenny Pickett's return. Not a full sprint, but a strong statement. It was July 26th when Kenny Pickett first pulled up during red zone drills with a hamstring injury. The former first-round pick had been gaining traction with a string of sharp practices, building chemistry with receivers and showing improved accuracy. But the injury forced an abrupt halt to that progress. For 3 consecutive days, Pickett could only watch from the sideline as veteran Joe Flacco assumed the majority of first-team reps. The energy Pickett brought to early practices was replaced with quiet determination as he observed, studied, and waited for clearance. But by day 8 of Browns training camp, Pickett was back on the field. Not in full pads, not in the middle of the action, but back nonetheless, moving through individual drills with precision, no limp, no hesitation, and, notably, no complaints. "Yeah, 100% it is," Pickett said when asked if he was ready to return to action. His words weren't brash, but they were confident. He wasn't sulking. He wasn't showing signs of mental fatigue. He was ready. "I'm trying to get back out there, as fast as possible," he told reporters. "I've never had a soft tissue injury like this, so this is the first time in my career. I felt like I came in great shape. I was hitting numbers speed-wise I've never hit before, so it's frustrating that it happened. But I'm turning the page and trying to be as good as I can be when I return." It's a message Browns fans will appreciate, because it shows Pickett isn't letting an early camp setback define his tenure in Cleveland. The quarterback puzzle, rotation, and rising pressure. Before the injury, Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco were rotating fairly evenly with the first-team offense. Rookie Dillon Gabriel had begun to receive a few second-team reps, and Shadur Sanders, another rookie with significant media buzz, had just started getting limited opportunities to showcase his arm. But Pickett's absence changed that structure. In the days that followed, Flacco took over the lion's share of reps, acting every bit the seasoned veteran he is. Gabriel, once on the fringe, was now firmly in the conversation. And Shadur Sanders began inching closer to the middle of the action, or so it seemed. However, as Pickett returned in limited capacity on day 8, Shedur's situation began shifting in the opposite direction. Shadur Sanders hits a wall. The first missed practice, Saturday, August 2nd, marked a surprising turning point. For the first time since joining the Browns, Shadur Sanders did not take a snap during team drills. A team spokesperson confirmed that Sanders was dealing with a little soreness in his arm. Not a major injury, not a cause for panic, but enough to keep him out of full participation during a crucial stretch of training camp. For 90 minutes, while Flacco and Gabriel took all the team reps during 11-on-11 sessions, Sanders stayed in the background, going through individual warm-ups, stretching, and light tosses, but never once entering the huddle. The image was striking. Sanders, usually among the last to leave practice, was now simply watching. No passes, no cadence calls, just a 21-year-old quarterback trying not to let frustration show on his face. ESPN Cleveland's Tony Grossi caught up with Sanders afterward, and despite the setback, the young quarterback was all optimism. "I'm good," Sanders reportedly said with a nod and a smile. But as reassuring as that might sound, the pressure to return and to impress is mounting. Kevin Stefanski's challenge, making sense of the shifting depth chart. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski has a quarterback room that's both deep and delicate. On one hand, he has Joe Flacco, a seasoned NFL veteran and Super Bowl MVP who has embraced the mentorship role while still expecting to compete. On the other, two rookies in Sanders and Gabriel are vying for development snaps. Add in Pickett, hungry for a comeback after an unceremonious exit from Pittsburgh, and Stefanski must navigate a rotation that's constantly evolving. Following Pickett's injury, Stefanski made his feelings known. Disappointed that he's not full go, but he's very much involved in everything we're doing. The subtext was clear: availability matters. And now, with Sanders joining Pickett on the sideline for day 9, Stefanski's options narrow again. Saturday's team drills featured only Flacco and Gabriel, a duo that not long ago was considered the backup tandem behind Pickett and Sanders. But in football, timing is everything. And on Saturday, it belonged to them. The soreness debate. Is it a real concern or just camp wear and tear? To be fair to Shadur Sanders, camp soreness is common, especially for young quarterbacks adjusting to the velocity, intensity, and repetition of the NFL game. Arm fatigue, in particular, is an expected part of the process, especially after weeks of OTAs, minicamp, and early training camp reps. But timing is critical. This is the phase of camp where coaches begin planning preseason rotations, where roster battles intensify, and where opportunities can vanish with the snap of a ligament or the twist of an ankle. A missed rep can open the door for another. A missed day can change a season. Sanders supporters point to his college stats: 4,134 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, and elite poise, as proof that his talent will shine through when healthy. Critics argue that as a fifth-rounder, any missed time puts him in danger of falling behind permanently. Both may be right, but what's undeniable is that in the NFL, camp reps are currency, and Sanders can't afford to let too many go to waste. Pickett versus Flacco versus the clock. Meanwhile, Kenny Pickett is getting closer. Although he hasn't taken team reps yet, he's back on the field, moving well, and staying involved in meetings and walkthroughs. For a quarterback trying to make his case as a starter, or at the very least a priority backup, that's a good sign. But he needs to return soon. Joe Flacco has the trust of the coaching staff and the experience to steady the offense. If Pickett can't reclaim team reps within the next few days, he risks falling behind in a race that may not wait for his full recovery. Shedur's uphill climb. Will this be a one-day setback or a trend? The question for Sanders now is simple. How quickly can he bounce back? The Browns' first preseason game is just around the corner. Every healthy quarterback is expected to get a look, especially with Pickett still in limited duty. For Shadur Sanders, even a few standout throws in the second half of a preseason game could change everything. But if the arm soreness persists, If Saturday turns into Monday, and Monday becomes midweek, then the concern grows. Practice squad discussions, third-string evaluations, long-term development plans. None of those scream QB of the future, at least not right now. But if there's one thing Shedeur has never lacked, it's determination. From Jackson State to Colorado to Cleveland, he's carried expectations that most quarterbacks never face. The road just got a little bumpier, but the destination remains the same. Conclusion: the camp battle is heating up and getting smaller. As Browns camp heads into its second week, the quarterback room is both wide open and razor-thin. Joe Flacco is the steadiest hand. Dillon Gabriel is gaining ground with every opportunity. Kenny Pickett is slowly climbing back toward the top. And Shadur Sanders is standing still, but likely not for long. The next 7 days will be pivotal. Will Pickett ramp up to full practice? Will Sanders return and reclaim his reps? Will Gabriel turn a temporary window into a permanent rise? Saturday gave fans a glimpse of what happens when preparation meets unpredictability. 2 of the Browns' most-watched QBs were sidelined. The rest, they got to work. But if Pickett's words are any indication, 100%. He's coming back for that top spot. And if Sanders' track record is any clue, his story is far from over. All eyes now turn to day 10 of Browns training camp. And as the drama builds, one thing's for certain: the QB competition in Cleveland is only just getting started.